In today's class, we will be discussing relative measures of skewness. In previous lectures, we discussed about absolute measures of skewness. So today, relative measure of skewness basically have three types: Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness, Bowley's coefficient of skewness, and moment measure of skewness. So today, we will be continuing with Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness. So, as we discussed in last lecture, skewness is basically when your data is not normally distributed, right? So, maybe skewed to left hand side or maybe skewed to right hand side, negatively skewed or positively skewed. So, it is very important that your data should be normally distributed. So, it makes the prediction easier. So, the basic purpose, as I have told you many a times, that the basic purpose of statistics is to predict something from previous data. So, prediction always become accurate if the data is normally distributed. It is not skewed. Whenever data is skewed, data becomes partial, right? For example, in a class, if maximum students have secured marks greater than 80, for example, and if we compare to other sections, it is not the scenario. It means there is some biasness. So it is very important that the data should be normally distributed, so that prediction becomes easier. So this is the basic purpose of calculating skewness. So here, as you can see, that Karl Pearson's coefficient, Karl Pearson's skewness is donated is denoted by SKP. The symbol for Karl Pearson is SKP, and the formula for the same is as following. So we have two formulas. So the first formula is mean minus mode divided by standard deviation. And the second formula, in case mode is not given to you, then 3 mean minus median divided by standard deviation. So these two formulas we have to calculate Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness. So what does it mean? See, maybe at times the value is positive or maybe the value is negative. So what does positive, negative and zero values of skewness indicate? So here you can see that a positive skewed distribution has a longer tail to the right. So if the answer of SKP is positive in plus, it means the data is skewed to the right. Whereas a negatively skewed distribution, if the answer, by applying these formula, if the answer is negative, it means your data is skewed to the left. Okay, so in both the cases, either the answer SKP is positive or negative, data is skewed either to right or to left. It means data is not normally distributed, and our purpose is to get a normally distributed data, right? But if SKP is 0, then data is symmetric. It means the data is normally distributed. As we discussed in our previous lecture, when you get a bell-shaped curve, like I'll just show you once again, like this one, the middle one. So the middle one basically tells you that the data is normally distributed, and left and right one shows that the data is skewed. But there may be certain studies, researches also, where you need a bit skewed data to predict, but there are certain studies where we need normally distributed data. So I won't say that it is always necessary, but generally it is necessary that the data should be normally distributed. So when SKP is 0, you will get this middle one curve, and if data is positively or negatively skewed, then left and right hand side, right, curve you will obtain. So moving forward to the questions. So today we will do few questions on this topic. So this is the question we have. For a group of 20 items, summation of x is 1452 and summation of x square is 144280, and mode is also given to you 63.7. find Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness. So for this we need mean. So as this was the formula, these were two formulas we discussed: mean minus mode upon standard deviation, 3 into mean minus median upon standard deviation. So see, mode is given to you, so it means we can apply this first formula, right? Then what do we need? We need mean and standard deviation. So whatever information is given to us, we have to calculate mean and standard deviation from this is this given data, right? So first we will calculate mean. So the formula for mean is summation of x divided by n. So I have all the values with me, so I will just apply the values. So summation n is 20, we have 20 observations, and summation of x is 1452, right? So what is the value of mean here? If we'll calculate it, we will get 72.6. So we have calculated mean. Now I will calculate standard deviation. To calculate standard deviation, the formula of standard deviation is this: under the root sigma x square upon n minus sigma x upon n's whole square. So we will apply these values. So summation of x square is given to us, that is 144280. So I will apply this value here, 144280. This is given to us. Then n is 20. This is what we have got. Now this is summation of x upon n. So summation of x is this 1452 divided by 20. So we'll write it here, 1452 divided by n is 20, and we need it square. So now we will solve it. So 144280 divided by 20 is 7214. Minus this 1452 divided by 20 square is 5270.76, and the final answer is 44.08. Once we minus it and calculate its square root, we'll get 44.08. So we have calculated both mean and standard deviation. Mean is 72.6 and standard deviation is 44.8. Now we can put these values into the formula of Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness. So mean we have calculated 72.6. I will put this value here, 72.6. Then we have mode. We have been given in the question, that is 63.7. Then we have standard deviation. This is what we have calculated, 44.8. 44.8, and the final answer we have got is 0.202. So this value is positive. Karl Pearson's coefficient of skewness is positive. A positive value means it is skewed to the right, right? So the data is not normally distributed here. It is skewed to the right. This is what our interpretation is. Data is not normally distributed. So this is the first question. Now let's discuss few more questions. So here we are with the next question. The sum of 20 observations is 300 and the sum of squares is 5000 and the median is 15. Find the coefficient of skewness and coefficient of find the coefficient of skewness and coefficient of variation. So here we have to calculate both the things, coefficient of skewness and coefficient of variation also, right? So let's move forward with this question. So first thing, obviously we are given median. So the formula we would be applying is this: 3 into mean minus median divided by standard deviation. So obviously we need mean and standard deviation is the basic necessity. So first we'll calculate mean. So here is the formula for mean. So sum of observation is 300. This is given to you in the question. So we'll apply this value. This is 20, n is 20. This is 300. So mean is now 300 by 20 is 15. So mean we have obtained, that is 15. Now we will calculate standard deviation. To calculate standard deviation, what do we need? Sum of squares. So sum of squares is given to you, that is 5000. So we'll apply 5000 here. 5000 divided by n is 20. And here sum of observations divided by number of observations. So this is 300 by 20 square. Now we'll solve it. So 5000 upon 20 is 250. 250 minus 300 upon 20 is 15. 15's square is 225. 225. And once we'll minus it and calculate its square root, the answer would be 5. 250 minus 225 is 25 and 25 square root is 5. So standard deviation is 5. So we have calculated mean and standard deviation. Now we can directly put these values into the formula of Karl-Pearson's coefficient. So this is the formula we have. Here we are applying median's formula because we are not given mode here. So standard deviation is 5. This is 5. Mean is 15. We have calculated here. And median is also 15. So here we are. 15 minus 15 is 0. So answer would be 0. So here SKP is 0. So if this is 0, which indicates that data is normally distributed. So this is the ideal situation usually any researcher would want. Data is normally distributed, a normal bell-shaped curve. So now we'll calculate coefficient of variation. So the formula for coefficient for variation is SD upon mean into 100. So SD is 5. Mean is 15 into 100. So the answer is 33.33%. So we have calculated coefficient of variation and SKP both in this question. Now let's move forward with our third question. So the third question here says that you are given a position in a factory before and after the settlement of an industrial dispute. So this factory has gone through certain dispute from the labor, and because of which they had to change certain things. So we have to see the impact of certain things on companies, wage payment strategy, how they are paying now. So number of workers before the dispute was 3000, and after the dispute they reduced the number of workers to 2900. Then mean wages earlier were 220 and now their mean wages is 230. So if you will observe this situation, you will see that earlier they were paying less and number of workers were more. So now they are paying more, but they have reduced the number of workers. So basically, factory is also maintaining its expenses. They are paying more, but they have reduced number of workers. It means they are getting more work done from the workers. From limited workers, they are getting more work done. Median wages have also changed. See here, median wages earlier was 250, now it is 240, and standard deviation earlier was 30 and now it is 26. So now lesser standard deviation also indicates that the company is paying quite equal amount of wages to all the workers, because mean value, the standard deviation, what is standard deviation? Standard deviation is variation from the mean value. So now almost all the workers are paid almost equal amount, right? Earlier it was larger, so few were getting more, few were getting less. Here also it is the scenario, but better than earlier. So now what do we have to do? We have to compare the situation, compare the position before and after the dispute in respect of total wages, model wages, variability and skewness. So these four things we have to calculate before dispute and after dispute. So let's start now. So total wages. To calculate total wages, how do we calculate total wages? By simply applying the formula for mean, we can calculate total wages, right? So the formula for mean is this. So mean is given to us 220. Now if you notice 220, n is number of workers, earlier was 3000. So I'm just simply cross multiplying mean, or okay, I'll just do it. So here we are. So here n is 3000. Now I will cross multiply. So summation of x is 220 into 3000. So 220 into 3000 is 6,60,000. So now earlier the wages they used to pay is 6,60,000. Now we'll see how much wages they are paying. So now the mean is 230. So I will apply 230 here. And n is now, the number of workers are now 2,900. They have reduced the number of workers. Now we'll see that how much wages they are paying now. This is 2,900 into 230. So this comes to be 6,66,000, 67,000. So now they are paying more wages. They have increased their wages by 7,000. So what is the interpretation here? So the interpretation we get here is the wages have increased. Okay. The wages paid by the factory has increased. So this is the conclusion we have got. Now, next thing we have to calculate model wages. Basically, we have to calculate mode here. Now, how do we calculate mode here? To calculate mode, the formula we would apply is MO equals to 3 median minus 2 mode. This is the formula we apply. 2 mean, sorry, not mode, mean. So this is the formula we are going to apply to calculate model mode. Let's apply this formula to calculate mode. MO equals to 3 into median. So let's see what is the value of median. Median is, earlier median was 250. So 3 into 250 minus 2 into mean. So the mean, earlier mean is 220. Here the final answer is 310. Now we'll apply the same situation in after the dispute. So MO equals to 3 into median. Median is after the dispute it is 240. Here you can see this is 240. So this is 240 minus 2 into mean. So into mean here is how much? 230 after the dispute. So I'll write 230 here. So the final answer is 260. So here you can see that the model wages have declined. This is what we have interpreted from this situation. That the maximum workers are getting lesser and few are getting higher. So the conclusion here is model wages have declined. So moving forward now. Now we will be calculating CV, coefficient of variability. So what is the formula for coefficient of variability? This is the formula SD upon mean into 100. Now we'll apply this formula. So SD standard deviation is given to us in the question. Yes, 30. So standard deviation is 30. Before the dispute, mean is 220. That is also given to us in 200. So CV is 13.64%. And now we'll calculate it after the dispute. So after the dispute, standard deviation is 26. So we'll put the value here. 26 divided by mean is 240. 230. 230 is the mean. So 26 upon 230 into 100. So coefficient of variability is 11.3. So what is the conclusion we are obtaining here? So coefficient of variability has declined. Variability has declined. So declining variability is a good sign. Okay. Then next we have to calculate skewness. So we are given mode in the question. We have calculated mode. Yeah, we have calculated mode and median is already given to us. So you can apply any formula. So I will be applying mode formula. So I will just apply this formula. To see the impact on skewness. So mean is 220 minus mode we have calculated. See 310. 310 divided by standard deviation. So standard deviation is 30 before the dispute. So here we have the final formula, final answer. The answer is -3. So because this is minus, it means it is negatively skewed. Okay. Now we will apply this formula here. Mean is standard deviation is 26. After the dispute, 26, and mean is 230. Mode we have calculated in part 2, see 260. This 260 I will apply here. 260, and the final answer we have got is minus 1.154. So you can see that skewness is negative in both the cases, but the value has changed. So what does it indicate? It indicates that you know this indicates that skewness has decreased. Earlier it was -3 and now it is -1.154. So data is a bit less skewed. It is skewed but a bit less skewed. So this is what we have calculated.